You have a good day, buddy?
What's going on, guys? Happy Tuesday. Stephanie, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Can you hear me?
I'm doing well.
Okay.
Thanks for being here, guys. I'm super excited. What up, Shane?
What's happening, everybody? How's it going, Jesse?
Doing good, baby. Doing good.
All right.
My 4-year-old just got back from his first day of preschool. So he's just walking in the door right now. I hear him. Sounds like he's pretty excited. What's going on, everybody? Let's go. I am super excited about today. Chanel, what's going on?
Yes, we made it happen.
We
What's
made
up?
it,
We're
man.
in here. Look at everybody's in here.
Exciting.
Wow.
So we're like 30 seconds in and we already have 40 people on this call. This is pretty
I
stuff.
know.
Not
I
everybody's gonna
know.
get in. We had actually I think we had like over like almost at about 175 people or so register for this thing. But I know everybody's like working. I had a handful of people text me as well, and they're like, "Oh man, I thought this was like PST, not EST." Like,
See,
dude, I get that
time-
because living in
next time we
Alaska,
gotta
like
do
my
mine.
entire life runs off of Eastern time.
Next time we got to do PST, which is my time. My time. Which is fine.
Do we got anybody from Hawaii in here right now? Is anybody from Hawaii in here?
Rhymes?
My
Dude, I
background's
went-
Hawaii.
Do what?
My background's Hawaii. It's my Airbnb back there.
You got an Airbnb in Hawaii?
Yes, sir.
Bro, where at? Where at in Hawaii?
It's in Hua. It's on Oahu.
Nice.
Oh shit, Tech! I didn't know you had a freaking property in Hawaii, man.
Dude, that's my breadwinner right there, bro.
Oh geez, man.
Oh,
How do we get on your level?
I'm
See, I'm
saying.
trying to get on your level. I thought this
Gosh,
was
don't
the,
forget
what
about
do
us
you
when
call
you're
it, dating-
famous,
is
bro.
this-
Jeez.
Dude, is this the dating Zoom? Did I miss this? I'm on the wrong one, right?
This is a little different, but along the same lines.
Yeah, you know what's
What's up,
funny
Josh?
about that, bro? I was going through the comments after we had that. So to give everybody else some context real quick, we're my partner Chris and I are doing a speed dating Zoom within the sub 2 community. And we called it Friends with Benefits. I thought that'd be funny. It'd be an eye catcher. Anyway, you know, you're looking over the schedule for sub 2 for the week, like Friends with Benefits with Jesse Stanton. What the hell is that? And it was funny because the intent behind it was to help people. It kind of ties into some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today. But one of the biggest issues that I've been seeing a lot of people have, especially within the community, when not getting enough traction or not getting enough momentum in their business, is because they're doing everything in their business. And so showcasing everybody how they can just focus on one thing, and not, the question shouldn't be asked of, how do I do this? How do I figure this out? How do I market this? How do I learn how to close sellers? How do I X, Y, and Z, insert whatever it is, whatever obstacle or bottleneck you have in your business? The question isn't, how do I do this? It's, who is already doing this? And who can I reach out to so we can work together? And so that's why we called the Zoom Friends with Benefits, because we're all friends in here. The benefit obviously being, oh, I need a closer, or I need somebody who can dispo this, or I need an Airbnb guru like Tech that I can bring deals to and that we can work with. And in that way, I don't have to know everything that he knows. I just have to focus on this one thing that I'm going to do. And I can go work with Tech, and we're going to own a lot of Airbnbs in Hawaii together. So obviously that being the benefit, right? Friends with benefits. Everyone's got an avatar or a gift, something that they are particularly good at, and that's the benefit. So we're all kind of, anyway. But long story short, so just to give everybody some context, that's what he's talking about. And then I went to the I was reading through some of the posts that got posted after that, And there was a couple people I saw that they were like, man, I didn't actually go to it because I legit thought it was a dating Zoom. I was like, man, that
I'm
that
not
would've
gonna
been-
lie, Jesse. I did think it was a dating Zoom, so I saw my other
For substitute
suggestion on here.
students.
You know what's
Netflix
funny?
and, creative
I
deals.
purposefully Bro,
we have-
I purposely did not give any context to this. I texted Melissa and I said, hey, this is what I want you to put on the schedule. Nothing else, nothing more. And so that's what she did. And so my first thought when I jumped into the Zoom, and we had we had a lot of people in that Zoom. My first thought was, all right, who all in here by show of hands, who all is single? I want to see all the single people. Did everybody come here because they thought that this was going to be a dating Zoom? So anyway, it was kind of funny. I got him. Got everybody.
Jesse.
Man, it was good. It was good. So yeah, it's going to be back on the schedule again for this Saturday as well. So I'm pretty excited for it.
So what was the highlight of that? Like, what's one big takeaway that if we missed, like myself, you got out of that Zoom?
I don't know if there's necessarily a big takeaway, but just having that clarity. It's going to be a continuing series, and just like this one, and we'll kind of get a little bit deeper into that one and what everybody can expect from this Zoom and the Zooms coming after it. But it was just kind of setting that expectation of where most people are missing the mark, and what you should be doing, where you should actually be spending your time. Because the fact is that we've all got 24 hours. Whether you're Jesse Stanton, Shane Evans, Pace Morby, Grant Cardone, Chanel Stolden, like we've all got 24 hours. So how is it that you can have people like Grant Cardone or Pace Morby jump into any random ass city in the United States and start a multi-million-dollar business in just a matter of months? It's because of this. They understand that they don't need to be doing everything, that they have one gift, and that's what they focus on. And they don't know just what to think, but they know how to think. And just that little pivot is enough to know who you need to be bringing into your business and where to find those people.
Absolutely powerful.
Clarity.
You're getting me ready just to jump in and bypass everything that we already structured for this by saying, just being good at that one thing and knowing your one thing and not trying to do everything. So I know so many connectors that are trying to do everything except for that one thing. What are you really good at? And focus exactly in on that.
Right.
You're absolutely
Exactly
right.
in on that. And then that's where you'll see your traction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because you're all here. You're like, well, how do I do that? Right. Like, that's what we want to clarify. We want to get into this. We've got a really awesome Zoom today that we want to kind of help you focus and figure out what steps to take to start doing that. And I think it's going to be really awesome to see. I think Jesse and Chanel and I were sitting down for a couple of days and just spending some time structuring this. And I think we have something coming up that's going to be really cool.
I agree, bro. Actually, you know what? Let's dive into it. I think, just as people come in and filter in, if you guys want to help us monitor the comments, because I see everyone's just blowing up the comments. So thank you guys first and foremost for being here. Super
Jesse,
excited.
Do you think they're connectors? Do you think they're connectors if they're blowing up comments? I don't know.
Absolutely. Well, Shane, do you want to kind of introduce just what we're doing here, why we're here, what everybody can expect from today's Zoom, and then moving forward, because we're going to keep everything to an hour. So we got about 50, maybe 55 minutes left if we go over a little bit, but we're going to try to keep it as close to an hour as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I mentioned, we're here to help you all figure out where you are, what your lane is, pretty much. We want to help you be a connector. We want to over deliver on what we're doing here. Our goal is to just give you tons and tons of value, and basically lay this out for you so that you know what direction to go, what steps to take to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Okay. So, I just wanted to kind of preface with the fact that we can't fit this all in one Zoom. I know you're all here and you're really excited. You're going to make all the money right today. We're going to tell you the magic formula. It's just not going to be possible. And we want to, but it's, you've got to be at a spot in your development of how you're doing your business to be monetizing what we're doing. So we don't want to just throw you right into the fire and say, this is how you have to do it. It's so easy, right? Here's the formula, just do it, right? We have to kind of step you up, right? You didn't start Algebra 1 in kindergarten. They didn't just throw you in there and say, yeah, it's easy. It's just X and Y's and things like that. We want to make sure you know what steps to take, how to get there little by little. And we want to kind of structure that in a way that's going to lead to your success, and not just like, I tried what they did and I'm not going to do this. It's not working. I can't do this. So that's really where we're at in this. And we have a couple of things we're going to overview, like talk about what a connector is. We're going to introduce the series. We're going to introduce like who we are, and just get this party started. So Chanel, did you want to introduce yourself first?
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Shane. So, hey, everybody. I am Chanel. I live in Los Angeles. Right now, I have a W-2. I work for a hospital out here. I do occupational therapy. I have 2 children, 2 of the most hyper and happy children I've ever had in my life, and I will only have in my life because they're just that hyper. I can't take anymore. I won't do it. And and just like I have a pug, my daughter has a pug, and where we live, coincidentally in LA, there's actually possums and coyotes where I live. So I don't know how that happened. I live in Inglewood by the SoFi Stadium, and there's possums and coyotes. And I'm a connector. I just started in sub 2, August 4th, guys. So
Whoop,
I haven't
whoop.
even been in.
Welcome to the fam, man.
Yeah, I haven't even been in for a month, let alone a couple weeks. And here we are doing stuff. So I'm definitely here for you guys. I'm here for myself. I'm here to learn. I hope we all get a ton of value out of this. I hope we all make good connections where we can encourage one another going forward, that you guys enjoy the series. Thank you all for coming.
Awesome.
Great.
Love it.
My name is Shane Evans. I've been in sub 2 and Gator for a few months now. So I've known Jesse Stanton through a coaching program that he's putting on, and I'm sure he'll chat about that a little later on, just to kind of give you his context. But I live in Vermont. I used to teach shop classes, so I taught everything from digital media to auto mechanics to welding, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, like anything in that range of like the fun classes in school. And that was a lot of fun, but I decided, I needed to move on. So I actually quit my W-2 this past couple months ago. And I haven't looked back yet, and I'm not planning to. I stopped by the school the other day and was like, yep, I'm glad I'm not here because they're starting school already and everyone's freaking out. But I love outdoors. Being in Vermont, we got a lot of good opportunities up here to go snowboarding and skiing and things like that. And my avatars are, I'm a closer, a connector, and a leader. So I'm hoping that I can give you all value and get us to where you all need to be and help you out with what you're doing. Go for it, Jesse.
Dude, first and foremost, can we acknowledge that Shane has like the best looking hair I've ever seen?
Thank you. I can thank my wife for that, because during COVID, I couldn't go get a haircut. And I had this ridiculous set of hair. And she's like, oh, I'll give you a haircut, no problem. So she buzzed my head on both sides and just started laughing at me. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, nah, I'm keeping it. And so
Shout out to the wife.
Yeah. So she's like,
it goes with all like your Metallica t-shirts, man. It just complements,
Yeah, all of them, all of the ones that have like camper vans on them. Yeah, all of them.
I love that, man. Well, that's got to be like the best feeling in the world. First and foremost, like you're a teacher and you quit your W-2, bro. You're doing this full time. And now you're getting ready to start seeing school buses all over the place. And you're where you once dreamed you'd be, man.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's this community and these people and these avatars that we're talking about today. It's just, it's one of those things where you find what you're good at and you believe in yourself and you focus on yourself a little bit instead of just having it as an add-on. And we'll talk about that a little bit today too, if we have enough time towards the end.
Love that, brother. Love that. Well, thank you for sharing. Thank you both. For those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Jesse Stanton. I am a sub 2 student. I've been in sub 2 for 3 years, over 3 years now. I got in right when sub 2 first hit. I'm a mastermind student. I also live in Alaska. I live in a small igloo up here in a place called Wasilla, Alaska, with a wife and 4 kids and 2 Yorkies and 3 moose. So super excited to be here. We're about ready to enter fall. I mean, September's right around the corner. We've gotten snow as early as September before. Not super excited about it, but hibernation period for me is like next week. So I'm looking forward to getting a lot done now that I'm not going to be camping or fishing as much. But yeah, I'm doing this full time. My partner is Chris. He lives in New York. So him and I are kind of just working all over the country. My avatars, I'm a connector, I'm a closer, and there's one other one. I don't remember what I am.
Coach.
Leader.
I'm a connector, I'm a closer. There's so many to choose from. Oh, I would say I'm a leader too. I enjoy that. Maybe that's I did 14 years, a little over 14 years in the Air Force before I got out and started doing this full time. And the last 3.5 years of my time in the Air Force, I was an instructor. And so the Air Force sent me to a place down in San Antonio to learn how to be a public speaker, how to be a presenter, how to be a coach, how to be a mentor. And I never in my life thought I would be able to take those skills and utilize, those outside the military. Usually people, if you guys, if there's any prior military in here, or if you guys know anybody who's prior military, usually the skills that you acquire in the military for the most part, is you either get out and you continue either working as a civilian or a contractor for the DOD or the government in some way, kind of doing what you were doing there. Unless you go out, you want to go be a mercenary or something like that. I guess that's always an option too. But thanks for the laugh, Stephanie. You're a good audience. No, I appreciate you guys, but thank you for being here. Thank you for taking some of your time out on Tuesday to be here. One of the things that I've seen go really underused and undervalued is the avatar connector. And I think for the most part, with a lot of the connecting and stuff that I do, a lot of the relationships that I've built, I've made quite a bit of money from being a connector. And I want to share some of those examples with you guys today and give you guys some structure, give you guys some clarity, give you guys some organization on where you can get started. So like Shane said today, we're going to give you some ideas and give you the blueprint. This isn't going to be a Zoom or a series where, hey guys, we're going to give you some information and you can take it, you can choose to implement it, choose not to implement it. What we're going to do is legit give you a step-by-step blueprint where the only way that you are losing, if you're not making money on this, it's because you are sitting on your ass and you're not just doing anything with it. So I'm going to show you some of the things that I've done, some of the things that I have seen worked, and give you guys some structure, some clarity, a blueprint for building relationships, for maintaining those relationships, and for monetizing those relationships. I see we got a question already. Pansy, what's going on? Thanks for being here, by the way. Always great when our paths cross.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to add, Jesse, that I dropped in the comments about changing your name so people can have your avatar and your information to contact you without putting it all in the comments.
My name?
No, you can rename yourself and everybody could put their contact information there instead of blowing up the comments.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, you're good. You don't need to apologize. No, that I love that. And to go on with what Pansy was saying, thank you very much, because that's probably a good way to kind of transition and to give you guys a good way to preface before we get too deep into this. Just to go along with what you were saying. Let me see here real quick. Let me see if I can change my view. How many people?
Pansy done put us on the spot.
No, I can walk you through it. Hit participants.
Well, I'll do that. I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll do that before our next meeting. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But I dropped the instructions in the chat if anybody wants to go back and check.
You are amazing. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Pansy.
Talk about being intentional. It's crazy because we were talking about this. How many people how many people here are connecting, but they're not monetizing? I would imagine quite a bit. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. But it's learning how to monetize this avatar is as simple as this. It's literally intention. It's the difference between when you're talking with somebody, whether that's a seller, whether that's building a relationship with somebody, there's a difference between hearing and listening. Can we all agree to that? There's a difference between hearing and listening. Shane, what would you say that difference is?
So when you hear someone, right? Like I hear things all day long, right? I hear and ignore my dog, who I had to call my wife to go get and kick out, that was whining in the corner when the meeting started. I hear the cars that drive by. I hear my little kid running upstairs, which I want to listen to that all the time, but I hear that, right? But when you listen to something, or you're intentional about something, you're not just going with it. You're not just kind of looking around and squirreling, you're ignoring stuff. You're actually taking the time to listen to what is happening. So not just listening to that person, right? You're listening to what they're saying and how they are saying it, right? Because I mean, if anyone jumped on Alex Hormozzi's call the other day on Saturday, if you didn't do that, you need to go watch the replay, because he dropped some major microphones on this entire thing. But if you watch how he gave that speech, it wasn't about the stuff he was giving away that I was looking at. I knew it was all going to come and it was going to be cheap or free or whatever. I was watching how he was acting, what he was doing, the way he was pivoting and changing the way he was saying stuff. If you're intentional about how you're listening, you're going to hear things that other people aren't going to hear, and you're going to be able to fill those gaps, being a connector that they probably didn't even know they had, right? So we want to be intentional. We want to really understand what we're doing, and how we can help each other. So yeah, I think that that's the direction we need to go. We need to focus on how we want to be so intentional.
I would agree. And that little intentionality is what most people, I think, are missing. The intentionality behind it, the structure behind it, the clarity behind it, the consistency behind it, the mindset behind it. And so for starters, I want to outline something that I love that everybody's doing. As soon as we jumped in here, and this is just, and I love that we've got just a room full of connectors, because in no other Zoom do you really see this much action. But everybody all of a sudden was like, hey, here's my phone number. Hey guys, let's connect. This is what I do. This is where I am. This is my email. Let's get intentional here. That's where most people are missing. So it's neat to come in here and just see everybody. Hey, here's my Instagram. Let's connect. That's a great freaking start. Because absolutely. I think what most people, and I love that you guys are doing this in here, but that little intentionality is what makes the biggest difference. If there's how many, I don't know how many people we got there. How many people in here are in sub 2, for example? Let me see in the comments. How many people are in sub 2? I see some hand raises.
I think
bunch of people in sub 2.
Yeah.
How many people are Gators? It's just
couple Gators, sub 2 and Gator.
Man. So between sub 2 and Gator, I mean, there's got to be like 80 hours a week worth of Zooms going on. So and when you're jumping into some of these Zooms, think of it like going to a boardroom. Think of it when you jump into a Zoom, or when you get on somebody's podcast or something, for example. What are you really doing when you're jumping in there? How intentional are you being? And metaphorically in your head, this is how I think about it. Anytime that I jump into a Zoom, and if you're the person that jumps in, you turn your camera off, you mute yourself, and you just kind of maybe half listening. Or maybe the Zoom's going on as you're cleaning your house, or you're doing your dishes, or you're on your way to Walmart, or you're running errands, or you're in your car. That's the difference between hearing and listening. There isn't as much intentionality behind it. Beg your pardon?
Jump in real quick? Yeah.
Oh, please. Yeah.
It's based on listening. I think her name is oh my gosh. She like I said, guys, I'm new. I'm here since August 4th, but I forgot her name. I think it starts with a C. She does like the newbie Zooms every single week.
Oh, Caroline.
Caroline, yes.
Yeah.
She says something so profound that's been sticking with me. And she starts off with this question: what's the most valuable thing that you can give somebody? And we all automatically think time. We can give someone our time. But she says the most valuable thing you can give somebody is your attention. When you are listening to someone, they have your full attention, right? And that's what also makes you set apart and sets the tone for what's going to happen next in terms of you being intentional. When I'm listening to you talk, Jesse, I'm listening to you. I'm looking at the comments here. I see what's happening here, but there's some things that I'm actually listening to what people are saying in the comments because I'm giving them my attention and I'm like, whoa, that's powerful. That's speaking to me. So listening is, also when you look in the comments and you see some people who are having trouble, monetizing.
Mhm.
We heard you guys. We listened to that. We listened to that. When I put in the post and said, do you guys want to Zoom about connectors and how to monetize? I heard that. I listened to what you said, and that's why we're here today. So because we listen to our community of connectors. We're here, we're paying attention to you guys. We want to see you guys thrive, and really just step up the connector game in this entire community. I want Pace to look at us and be like, yo, what is happening in the connector space? Like the connector space is just jumped on an entire wave, and just make noise throughout sub 2, to where we are heard. Because I do think, because there's not a lot of content and things of that nature with the connector space, it's like we have to make ourselves be known, and let people know that we're here. We are here. We are valuable. Everyone needs a connector. If you're brand new, you into sub 2, you need to connect with the connector because we know who everyone is. We are the resource, and that's a part of going into defining what a connector is too. You got to see yourself as valuable. You are the one. You have to see yourself as that person. If someone needs something, they need to think about you. You have to be the first person on everyone's mind. You have to be the first person on everyone's mind that you connect with. You have to stand out. You have to listen, pay attention, and be that one. Have to.
I have nothing to add to that because that was that's perfect. That's exactly
Well said, man. Well said. I think most people end up they treat their businesses, and not intentionally, obviously, but most people treat their businesses, whether they're a connector, whether you guys are a gator, whether you guys are a PML, whether you guys are a wholesaler, whether you're a fix and flipper, whether you're buying and holding, whatever it is you're doing, or maybe you're selling shoes. Most people that I've seen, a lot of the issues that they're running into, and again, I think this is subconsciously, this obviously isn't intentionally, but they're waking up every day as if it was almost on accident.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, and I'm going to over exaggerate this, but it's the concept is still there from what I've seen and a lot of people that I've talked to that I've coached. This is kind of where a lot of the issue is. It's almost like people wake up every day and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm alive today. Let me see what's going on Facebook. And you go right to your phone, you're scrolling through Facebook, right? And you might see somebody, or you might look your email. And you're like, oh, shoot, Shane is wholesaling a sub 2 in North Carolina. This looks dope. Let me go find somebody who can lend this to me. And then you go right to Facebook and you're like, hey guys, I've got a deal in North Carolina. I'm looking to buy. Who's got 30 grand? Well, if any of you know anything about PMLs, it's all about relationship. When you're raising capital, the time to start raising capital is 6 months before you need it, not 6 days before you need it.
Wow.
So intentionality is what we're getting at. Too many people are waking up every day and running their businesses as if it was on accident. And being in the connector realm, if you guys are being connectors, how do we make money as connectors? In the comments, let me see, how do people get paid as connectors?
And if you've gotten paid as a connector, share a little bit about that, just so people can get context on what you're talking about. Because, I feel like that's a good conversation.
Okay.
Finder's fee. Okay.
Finder's fee.
Referral fee. Okay. You guys are right. You're not wrong. You guys are giving really good answers. I mean, in the literal sense, that's how you get paid. But how do you get those? How do you link buyers to things? How do you partnership, relationships? Okay, so we're getting close. Building relationships.
Yeah.
Building relationships.
Relationships, introductions, add value. Okay.
So Jesse, so I think some we're seeing is building relationships is big in this, right? That's what we're all about. and I saw someone say something about maintain, but like, how does someone do that, right? Like, I think that's a big missing piece in this entire puzzle that most people hear. How are you doing that? Do you have a plan in place, right?
100%. Dude, that's such an amazing question. Does everybody have an idea on when they wake up every day? Do they know exactly who they're going to talk to? Do they know how many people they're going to talk to? Do they know how long those conversations are going to be? Do they know whether or not they're going to be talking to those people over Facebook, Instagram, Zoom, phone calls, texting? If the answer is no, then that's what we're missing. That's where we have to start. And I'll give you guys a personal story of where I discovered this. So last year, for those of you guys who know my partner, Chris James, him and I met at the mastermind. And the last couple of years, the one avatar I've been focusing on is being a closer. So I've really got intentional with structuring my day around that one thing, and then finding other people I can bring into my business to facilitate other things. Now, when Chris and I got together, we didn't know how we were going to work together. We said, hey, you know what? We've both been in sub 2 for a few years. We're both doing creative finance at high level, both know real estate. Don't know what this partnership's going to look like, but just in the interest of getting started, let's just try to help as many sub 2 people as we can in whatever facet that looks like. And we'll just figure out, what this relationship and what this business is going to look like from moving forward from that. And we both said, okay. So this is where my connector avatar role really officially started. And I say that because this is the first time, obviously I've been in sub 2 for a couple of years at that point, and I've talked with a lot of people. Tech and I have known each other for a while. But this was kind of the first time where I started learning more about intentionality. It's not just, hey, how many people can I talk to today? That's not how you monetize. That's not how you structure. That's certainly not how you scale a business. We don't wake up every single day inadvertently thinking, what's my day going to be like today? And so going through this process with Chris, we were like, well, how do we structure our day? How do we monetize it? How do we make sure there's consistency there? And so what we ended up doing was we're like, well, if we're going to talk to as many sub 2 students as we can, then there's got to be some sort of structure behind it. So Shane, to answer your question, what we ended up doing was we downloaded the Calendly app. And we structured that app and said, hey, here's our availability. And at the time, we were doing 40 hours a week and just one-on-one Zooms. And these were hour-long Zooms. So we're doing 40 to 50 hours a week. And we're talking with well over 100 people. We're talking about almost 200 people a month. Now, it wasn't tailored. It wasn't specific. It wasn't niche. But when we started with that intentionality, when we started waking up every day and knowing what our day was going to be like, what those conversations were going to look like, how many people we're going to be talking to that day, how we were going to talk to them about that day, what we wanted going into that conversation, and what our expectations were coming out of that conversation. I will tell you guys what, within the first 60 days, we made over $72,000.
Wow.
Now, some of you guys might be thinking, well, Jesse, I don't have 40 to 50 hours a week to be sitting behind Zooms. Guess what? I don't anymore either. So I totally get that. But that's one of the things that we're going to get in here, and we're going to start getting intentional with and give you guys a blueprint and a foundation so there's structure. We're going to take all the guesswork out of it.
Absolutely. And just to chime in and piggyback off of that, I see some people in here, you guys have jobs, you have W-2s like myself, and just trying to figure out how do you structure your day for your business when you have a job, when you have kids that you have to tend to. I know for me, and just another story about how this Zoom came about. Last week, I was on a different Zoom actually for connectors. It was a connectors mastermind. And the guy, Dennis, I don't know if he's on here or not, but he dropped a post and asked if anybody wants to be a part of a mastermind. It was like on a Monday. And everyone, jumped in. Yeah, I want to do it. I want to do it. And then he reached out to me personally and said, well, it's going to be on Wednesday. Are you going to be available during lunchtime EST? And that's something where I'm like, okay, goes back on how intentional are you about building your business, And I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to be working, but how can I structure my day around this meeting here for 1 hour, So, and that's exactly what I did. I was like, all right, from this block out, I know that I'm not going to be seeing any patients. I know that I need to get home at this time so I can be on this Zoom. And I did. I made it to that Zoom and I met some great people in there who has been in sub 2 for a little bit and who also, we all had the same problem, didn't really know how to monetize and really work our connector space. And so when I saw that gap in the connector space, I was like, whoa, like I just joined this place just to do this. And here's another gap. First gap is that there's not a lot of connector content. And then the second gap is not a lot of connectors know how to monetize. So instantly I had met someone else earlier, Carlin, during that week too, who's a mindset coach, your buddy, your partner, who's a mindset coach. And immediately my brain started clicking and I was like, you know what? I have to set something up with this mindset coach so I can get out a way to build this connector community and learn how to monetize. So with me still having my W-2, I went on her account, I hit her up, I saw her time slots, where does she live? And
she's in the armpit of America.
Yeah.
New Mexico.
Like, yeah, so it's like, I'm like, okay, so that's another thing too, the time zones, everybody's in different time zones. So you have to really, for me, I'm like, okay, this is something that you have to really want to do this too. You have to be serious about this. This is your business. This is your livelihood. This is the pivot that you're making to make your life great. So when I saw that, I said, okay, I saw her time slots. I looked at her time slots. I said, okay, how can I structure this into my day and make this work? And I know that I dropped my kids off at school at 8:30 and I could see my first patient at 9:30. I said, okay, well, or by 8 o'clock, I dropped them off at 8. I was like, let me structure this where I can see her at 8:30. So that's what I did. I structured her into my day and I met Jessie that same day. It was a Thursday. I just met Jessie 5 days ago. Prior to that, I did not know who Jessie was. Talked to her and Jessie about what I saw, this gap that I saw, and boom, Jessie was like, let's do a Zoom about it. Let's get everybody here. Had I not been intentional about that and structuring my day and really putting something forward, being productive, you don't have to do, starting out, especially if you have a W-2, do what works for you. Don't try to stretch yourself out doing a whole bunch of stuff because you're going to fail. If you're going to have a phone call with somebody, like I said, pay attention to those time zones, see exactly where you can fit it in, and actually fit it in, be productive, structure it into your day. Look what happened. We have, out of just me structuring it, we have 87 people here. And I really hope that you guys are getting value out of this because I know I am, so definitely this is what happens when you structure your day. Shane, you got any input on that?
Yeah, I mean, I can go on for hours about structuring your day. I mean, before I started going down this rabbit hole of time blocking, and we'll get into that in another meeting. I mean, I would see this. Oh yeah, let's go talk to that person. Oh yeah, I need a PML. Let me go search for this PML. Or I need this. And you're spending so much time not being intentional. But it was funny because along the same time that Chanel and Jessie were posting about connecting with people, I started posting the same stuff. I'm like, hey, why am I going to all these different people when I can connect with everyone who's connectors again and get everyone who's already connected to people that's their job, right? That's how and pay them, right? And I don't know how many of you came from me or Chanel or Jessie's links, but I started getting blown up and I was like, whoa, I got to stop. I'm going to be spending, like Jessie did, 40 hours a week just talking to people because I had 60 people blowing up my DMs and I decided be intentional. Like why I want to talk to everyone. Believe me, I want to talk to every single one of you. But at the same time, I want to be intentional with my time, your time, and everyone else's. And that's why we're here. Like just structuring that and then deciding, okay, like I've only got, like, some of you commented like, whoa, you only have like a half hour on at 11:30 on a 3 Mondays from now. I'm like, well, that's all the time I got, right? Like I'm being intentional about my time. I can't just jump on a call at noon today. No, I have a meeting with my wife during lunch. Like I mean, I actually have meetings with my wife. I have to structure time around my wife, my kid. Like I spend such intentional time with my family, and this sounds bonkers if you're like, oh, I want my kids, my family's my life. Well, yeah, you've got to have a job to do that, right? So we've got to make the money to have a family, to have the life that you want. But you can, like, your kid's not going to remember all the time they were at daycare all day long. They're going to remember that moment that you picked them up on time, the moment you dropped them off and said goodbye and kissed them and hugged them and spent that afternoon with them getting the ice cream, or that's what they're going to remember, you know? So being intentional with your time, your family, your life, this is what this is all about. And you can't get there without structuring yourself a little bit and work your way towards it. It's not going to happen overnight. So let's just put that up front. Like you've got to work at it. I'm taking naps right now because I can't put as many hours in as I need to. That's time blocked in my life until I get past the spot where I'm not exhausted. So yeah, I just want you all to kind of see that. So now, Jesse, you were talking a little bit about talking to 40 people a week. You know, what would you say to that? People who don't have the time?
Well, that's perfect. I think you both hit the nail on the head there. I think we first got to figure out, well, first and foremost, I'm huge into who here feels like they don't have the time? In the comments, who here is like, man, I want to do this. I see the vision in it. I see the merit in it. My struggle is I don't have the time. I'm working on building a wholesaling business. I'm a gator. I have a W-2. I have a family. I have kids. Trying to time block. But I'm just not as consistent, or I don't have the time to do all the things that I need to do. Anybody resonate with that? Because I know that's where I used to be. Let me share, and I want to share something just so everybody has a very clear understanding. Because that's like when we go, you got these ups and downs of being an entrepreneur, right? And it's easy to be motivated and to be happy, and the energy is there when things are going good. But once we hit that dip, we resort to our highest level of mindset and dedication and consistency and discipline. And that's what's going to carry us, again, back up to that next high. And so I just want to give everybody some context for everybody who's feeling like, hey, you know what? I don't have the time. I've been there. I get it. And let me share with you where I was and how I got to where I am right now. So as I said before, I was in the Air Force. I live in Alaska. So I'm 4 hours behind everybody else, 4 hours behind Eastern time. And when I joined Sub 2, we were working Florida market. So I would start my day at 5 a.m. I would get dressed, ready for work, and I'd leave work at 5:45. I would have an hour drive to work. I'd get there at 6:45. And as I'm telling this story, I want you guys to be thinking about, okay, yeah, that kind of sounds like my day. I want you guys to be kind of comparing this so that when I tell you some of the solutions and things that I have figured out, you can take some of those and be a little bit more intentional, look at how your day is and where you can start kind of applying some of these things, okay? So I'd get to work at 6:45. I would work from 6:45 until 4:00 p.m. And then I'd have an hour drive back home. So by the time I walk through the door, it's 5 p.m. in Alaska. Well, that's 9 p.m. in Florida.
Wow.
How many sellers do you think I'm getting a hold of when I don't even walk through the damn door until 9 p.m.? By the time I get my uniform off, I get some sweats on, I get behind my computer and start going through the leads, it's already, 9:30. So this was the pickle I was in, not to even mention the fact that my wife is a nurse. She was a nurse at the time as well. She worked nights. I had 3 kids at the time, not 4, and one of them was a newborn.
Ooh.
So my wife leaves for work at 5:30. I get home from work at 5. She leaves work at 5:30. We're high-fiving and she's out. Now I've got 3 kids. I've got to make dinner. For everybody who is a parent,
Oh my God.
I know that you can resonate with what I'm going through right now. I had 3 kids. One was a newborn. I had to make dinner. I had to get everybody fed. I had to do the dishes. I had to put dinner away. I had to get everybody in the bath. I had to get everybody in pajamas. Then I had to get everybody to bed. I was finishing up my degree at the time. And now I had to figure out a way that I was going to build this business. If there was anybody in the entire world that could complain about time, I felt like it was me. Not only from everything that I had going on in my life, but also I was 4 hours behind everybody. So I felt like if there was any person in the world that could complain about time, it was me. I was going through, again, this was 3 years ago. I was going through Pace's YouTube. I was watching a video, don't remember what it was. I was scrolling through the comments in that video, and I noticed there was this one comment that stuck out. And it stuck out because it was a snarky ass comment. Well, like when you read it, you were like, oh man, like why would somebody post that? That's really rude. But I noticed that Pace commented underneath it. He responded to it. And I was like, oh, let me see what's going to happen here. So I go in and I click on it, and he said the most profound thing. Like it was almost like a godsend. It was exactly what I needed to hear at that freaking time to make this pivot in my business. And it was so simple, something you'd even see on a bumper sticker, guys. But all he said was, and I don't have any tattoos, but if I was going to get tattoos, if I was going to get a tattoo, I'd get this right across my forehead because it literally changed my life. But the advice that he gave, he said, millionaires don't complain about time. And I thought, man, that's gold. Because if there's any one person in this world that can complain about time right now, it's me. But that comment really got me thinking. I said, okay, if millionaires don't complain about time, 90% of millionaires are self-made, which stands reason to believe that they're going through similar stuff that I am, or at least did. So then what am I missing? If Pace was in my situation, if Grant Cardone was in my situation, what would even the millionaire version of Jesse do? And then I had an epiphany. And I was like, man, you know what? Maybe I'll start waking up earlier. Maybe I'll wake up at 3 a.m. So now I had a solution to my problem. I started waking up at 3 a.m. And now I had 4 hours to call sellers before I had to be at work.
Nice.
So now there was structure. There was consistency to my day. I knew exactly what time I was going to wake up. I know who I was going to talk to. I knew what I was going to do. I know how long those conversations were going to be. And then when I got home from work, then I started working on other parts of my business, connecting with other people, building those relationships, having business meetings, doing content, all of those other sort of things that coincide with your business. But it starts with structure. So I just want to share that to negate any false belief that anybody in here has of, hey, you know what? I don't have any time. Because if you want to become a millionaire, I can tell you right now, time is not your obstacle. If you're complaining about time, you will never be a millionaire. So we're going to start there. And we're going to give you guys the blueprint, but it all started with creating some consistency, some time blocking. And that's how I did it was from creating that Calendly account. That way I could schedule everything on my time. And I know Shane and Chanel, you guys have kind of talked about that as well. Anything else that you guys would like to add before we move on?
Yeah, really quick. It's just because I had to think about a plan for myself and talking to people because I'm on Pacific. So, you know, the EST thing is 3 hours ahead for me. So for me, when I start reaching out to people to connect with, I think I'm going to focus on time zones, specifically certain time zones, because I have to have my kids dropped off at school by 8 o'clock. see my first patient by 9:30 and up until like 3 or something like that, I'm literally going to do what you did, you know, start at 5 o'clock in the morning PST, and it should be about what, 8 o'clock for someone on the East Coast. So, and just kind of schedule my day right there from 5, pretty much from 5 to 7, you know, and start by connecting and whoever I'm targeting that day, and just making my Calendly and put in those slots, you know, and then maybe after work, 5 o'clock or so, connect with people that are on the West Coast in my time zone, since we're on that same time zone, you know. So in the morning, I'll do the East Coast, and in the afternoon, then I'll schedule more, you know, time for people that are in my time zone. So that's my plan going forward, guys.
I love that. Shane, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, in being intentional with your time, Jesse kind of commented a couple times on knowing who he's talking to every single day, right? This is where this Calendly idea is going to come into effect. It might only be, you might only have an hour to talk to people. So great, get 4 people into that hour, right? Back to back to back meetings. Take notes as you go through. Say, hey, listen, my time's valuable. I got another call. I know it's hard to say no to someone to keep talking, right? Because people are going on a tangent and they're talking, and you just want to be their friend and you want to make sure you get to know them. But at the same time, you know, you as a connector, right now, I feel like everyone in here, or at least a lot of the people feedback I got, they want to monetize because they don't know how. They're nervous about asking it. They don't feel like they themselves are bringing value, but you're basically saying, hey, I'm the person that's going to connect here to there. So let me respect my time, and I'm going to respect your time, and I'm going to find you what you need. Let's have this conversation and be precise about it. I mean, you can have all of these conversations you're doing for 45 minutes to an hour. You can do that in 15 minutes. Go in there with questions, like you're interviewing that person. Go in there with your Rolodex of what you need to say, or what your pitch is, right? Or even start a video before you even get in there and send them a video of that before that, right? So be intentional with your time, so you're not spending an hour talking to someone about, you know, their cats and things like that. So we want to make sure that, and cats are great. I have cats, I have a dog, you know, but at the same time, how is that going to move you forward and making you money? Is that intentional enough for you? Is that going to make you take your steps? And kind of something on that same thing, like Jesse was getting up at 3 a.m. I'm sure you were planning your entire day out the day before, not the day of. He was going, I'm getting up at 3. I'm going to do this. I know for myself, one of the things that I listen to Jay Shetty a lot. One of his things he said is, pick out your damn clothes the night before you go to bed. I know that sounds very like mom. Oh my goodness, I'm going to pick out my clothes and like make sure I have clean underwear. But at the same time, I don't have to think. That's a decision I don't have to make the next day. I can make that decision before I go to bed when I'm like, I don't really care. Cool, this will look good tomorrow. Awesome. It's done. I don't have to think about it. I know that I'm getting up, I'm walking my dog, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. These are my 5 things. And yes, you are going to have to adapt every once in a while. Okay, so just remember that as well. Life happens and we all understand that. How can you twist that? Oh, well, you know what? I'm going to have to stay up an hour later. Okay, fine. Like, but be intentional and really be consistent about what you're doing, and you're going to get there. It might take you longer because you only have an hour a day to do something compared to someone else like me who has 12 hours a day to spend on this. But be consistent, right? That's really where we're at. And I think that's what we're leading into in our next part of the conversation is how we're going to be consistent, right? We've got about, what do we got, Jesse? About 7 minutes left. Maybe we want to jump into.
If you guys want to, maybe we'll go a little bit over. I don't want to turn this into like a 3, 4, 5 hour Zoom or anything, but I see we've got a couple hands up. We're going to finish.
Yeah.
We're going to, let us wrap up kind of some main points. We're going to give you guys some action steps and some takeaways from here real quick. And then for you guys who have questions, go ahead and raise your hands now, but we'll leave a little bit of time, once we kind of get through this part and do a little bit of Q&A with you guys. So just so you guys are aware. So right now, for those of you guys who don't have a Calendly, what we need to do is we need to create some consistency and some structure in your day. That's the first part. Because I'm sure as connectors, I'm sure you guys are in here talking with literally anybody and everybody, right? This person needs this. This person needs that. This person needs a buyer. This person needs a PML. This person's da 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 da. What we don't want to do, guys, is create a gigantic list of 1,000 people needing 1,000 different things, and then 1,000 other people who can potentially solve that problem. And at the same time, you're not even maintaining these lists. You're over here worried about, how do I slide into another 50 people's DMs today? So that's what we don't want to do. We need to create some structure. We need to create some consistency. Now, with that being said, how many people in here, because I see this a lot as well. I am a connector. I am a gator. I am a wholesaler. I am a PML. I am buy and hold. I'm da, 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 da. You guys are like 12 avatars. You guys are doing like 12 different things. You got like 15 different businesses that you're working on. If you want to be a connector, we can show you guys how to start making money in the next 30 days by being a connector. But you have to be intentional. Being a connector is the same as what, let me be really perfectly clear here, guys. What we're showing you guys is not just how to monetize some relationships. For those of you guys who are like, you know what, my avatar, my true avatar, my gift to the world, my God-given gift is helping people and connecting with people. Your superpower, your gift is just being you. Your ability to connect with people, to sympathize with people, to help with people, and to connect with people on that level, that is your God-given gift. Your avatar, all these lists of different avatars, that think of those different avatars as like all these different Iron Man suits. Okay. You have an Iron Man suit that's a closer. You have Iron Man suit that's DTA. You have an Iron Man suit that's a connector, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. You have your gift over here. These Iron Man suits that we have that we call avatars, that's how you monetize your gift. If you have the gift of gab and you just love talking to people, like I did, the avatar series wasn't a thing when I joined Sub 2. So for me, I was either visionary or connector, and I was like, well, I'm a visionary. So I love doing Zooms, and then I loved closing deals. So that was the one thing that I focused on. But that's how I took my gift and I learned how to monetize it. That's what your avatar is. So when you guys are spreading yourself so thin over 15 different avatars doing 20 million things a day, that's why you're not monetizing, because there's no consistency. There's no structure. There's no intention. So you're talking with somebody about Gator lending over here. You're on the phone talking with somebody how they can bring you leads over here. And then at the same time, you're connecting with people, but you're not really present. You're there. And you get caught in this mindset of thinking, hey, just because I'm busy means I'm being productive. And that's false. So I just want to give some context as to some of the things that I've seen, including some of the things that I've done and Chanel done and Shane has done and things that we've done wrong. And so being able to give you guys some context, is there anybody that can relate with this, by the way? Is there anybody that's like, dude, yes, this is me. You're speaking to my soul right here. This is me to the T all day. Because that was me. Hallelujah. Cool. So now that we can all acknowledge that, we can all relate and say, hey, I'm doing this. These guys have been here. Here's what we're going to do to solve that problem. Okay. We need to focus on one thing. So those of you who are truly wanting to be a connector, that's what this series is going to be. It's going to show you how to build an actual business as a connector. This isn't just a, hey, I want to monetize on my connections type of deal. We are getting very granular with this, and we're going to show you how to structure and build a business and monetize it as a connector, not just making $500 here for the referral or getting a little piece of the deal here or doing maybe a couple things out of the year as a connector. No. We're showing you how to make money every single month from being intentional with your connection, with your connections, getting you paid for the people that you know, for the resources that you bring, for the problems that you solve. Consistent money, 100%. Yeah, that's why we're here. We want consistent money. We don't want inconsistent. I don't want to be paid inconsistently. So we want to get really intentional. So in order to do that, guys, we've got to do things that people aren't doing. This is actually probably a good thing to write down. If you guys have pen and paper in front of you, write this down. In order to have something I've never had, I have to do something I've never done. In order to have something I've never had, I have to do something I've never done. Now, there's a simple saying, and it probably should be the motto for everybody who's a connector. The more hands you shake, the more money you make, which is what, based on the comments, what I'm seeing, it looks like everybody's doing that anyway, which is great. What we're going to do is we're going to bring order. We're going to bring structure. We're going to bring clarity. We're going to give you a roadmap and a blueprint on how to build this business as a connector. And your homework right now is to download a Calendly account. For those of you guys who don't have a Calendly right now, download Calendly. Perfect. So Lisa says I have one.
Okay.
I know for those of you guys who are doing Project Forward, Pace's thing was having everybody download a Calendly, right? But here's the difference, guys. Here's what we're going to do as connectors. Here's where you're going to outshine everybody. Now, for those of you guys who have experience wholesaling, let's not pretend like we're not all calling the same list, right? Everybody's calling the same pre-foreclosure list. So it doesn't matter what market you're in, right? We're all kind of competing against each other. Being a connector is no different. We're all talking to the same people. We all know the same people. We're all in the same community. It's that intention behind it. And I saw somebody post a little bit in the comments. It's not enough to just talk to somebody, but now we're going to show you guys how to maintain those relationships as well. And that's something we're going to continue on in the series. We're going to give you guys some ideas and some action steps as we continue moving forward. Today, we're just laying the foundation. So that's step one, is setting up your Calendly. Now, the great thing about this is, guys, is you can set it up any way that you want, whatever coincides with your schedule. That's what's so great about this. Whenever it's convenient for you, let somebody else decide whether or not they want to book that time or not.
And Jesse, can I comment on that as well?
Please. Yeah, thank you.
So I see some people with these Calendly accounts, and they've got from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. available every 15-minute interval. If I were to come into your Calendly, this is just a tip for you all. Everyone's like, oh, well, I'll make time for anyone, right? If I was going to talk to Jesse because he's up a higher level than me, or if I'm with Chanel or whatever, that's not what you should be doing. You need to respect your time and what you need in your schedule, because that person, if they don't want to spend the time connecting with you, then they're not going to be the right fit for you. Okay, so make sure it works for you. If you have to make sure that they know that you are valuable, because that is what you are becoming. Especially, I mean, you are already, right? We all are valuable, and you are going to be this person who everyone's going to want to talk to, because you're going to be the one who has all these connections. And I just want to reiterate that your day is your day, right? I have, and like I said before, I only have 2 hours a day to talk to people. If I can get you in, great. If I can't, sorry, I can't squeeze you in after my dinner time or after your dinner time. It just doesn't work. So make sure that if they want to connect with you, they will find the way to do it. Just like you are finding the time to invest in yourself, you're making this work. Right. And things are going to change. You're going to adapt, and your calendar is going to change once you get moving and rocking and shaking. But right now, make sure you respect and value yourself in a way that is going to get you to the spot you need to be. That's just one of my one big advice. Don't have that list of 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. because I see that and I go, man, this person is just going to bend over backwards and they're not going to do anything after this. That's how I see that calendar. I honestly do. Yes, it's nice, but you're not here to please everyone. You're here to make money and do business. So just remember that.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Chanel, you got something you wanted to add?
No, I'm just looking at the comments and they're just blowing up. So I'm just really glad that everyone's getting some value out of this. Guys, I'm going to be doing this too. I don't think I have not been putting it to use, but I'm going to be doing this with you. Like I said, we're all here to encourage each other. Jesse, thank you so much for just kind of spearheading this, and Shane, you guys have the experience, have the knowledge for spearheading it and just giving us some guidance and some direction with this. So
Absolutely.
let's continue this. And are you ready to jump into some questions? We got some hands up.
Let me just add on a couple thoughts real quick. I want to preface with, because I know there's going to be people that are like, oh, well, I can't get my Calendly set up for another week or two just because I don't have the time. I got this going on. I got family coming in town. We got family pictures. Look, I'm just going to can I be real with you guys? Can I be raw? Like, is that okay with you guys?
Give it to us.
Are we here to make money or are we not here to make money?
Here to make money.
We're here to make money.
Yep.
So I'm going to give you guys some homework. There's going to be expectations. And based on who does that homework will be how people continue into this series. Because as a connector myself, and for other connectors who are in here, obviously you guys only want to be connecting with people who are going to be intentional, who are serious about making money and building those relationships as well, right? So just like what Pace is doing with Project Forward, we want to be really intentional with who we're connecting with collectively. And so everybody else will kind of filter themselves out. But what's today? Tuesday. So this is really easy. Everybody download Calendly. That's one. Now, again, we're going into this from the mindset and the perspective of, this is my focal point. This is going to be the one thing that I'm going to get right, that I'm going to build, and I'm going to monetize. And so maybe it's just my mindset or the way that things work in my head, but I almost would look at, build up your Calendly. Now, whether that's, who would benefit from having an extra 48 meaningful relationships a month? 48 meaningful relationships. So if you guys can designate 1 hour, maybe that means you stay up an hour earlier. Maybe that means you wake up an hour earlier. Or you get rid of something that's actually not a money-making activity in your day. But if you guys can build your Calendly, download Calendly today, designate even just 1 hour, guys, minimum 1 hour. I don't want to talk to anybody next week and say, hey, how many people did you talk to today? And they're going to be like, oh, I talked to 2 or 3 yesterday. Well, which is it? Did you talk to 2 people yesterday, or did you talk to 3 people yesterday? How many people are you going to talk tomorrow? Well, I'm going to try to shoot for 5 or 6. No, that's not what we're doing. Are you going to talk to 5 or are you going to talk to 6? Okay. So when you're building your Calendly, if you guys start out with anybody, I would challenge everybody, just start out with 1 hour a day minimum. If you guys can do 2, if you guys can do an hour in the morning, then maybe an hour in the afternoon, or maybe you can do another hour in the evening. Even better. That's only going to amplify your guys' results. It's only going to make you better. But at a minimum, if you guys can time block 1 hour a day and you can have 2 meaningful conversations into 2 30-minute, divided into 2 30-minute sections. You can do that 6 days a week. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
So that's 12 people a week times 4 weeks. That's 48 people a month.
Hey, Jesse, can I just talk to 12 people in one day? Is that cool?
Are you going to stay consistent with talking to 12 people a day?
Well, no, just in one day to get my 12 for the week. Is that okay? Well, so I wanted to put that into perspective, everyone. That's not what we're trying to do here, right? We want to be talking to 2 people every single day. Okay. It's not about hitting the number. It's about being consistent each day. So please understand that. Yes, you can take the shortcut like I did when I was in middle school, when I broke my wrist and my teacher was like, would you like to do handwriting or journal writing? And I was like, I don't want to do journal writing. And now as a 35-year-old, I'm doing journal writing every single day. I should have, jumped on that. So what I did was went ahead and I taped 3 pencils together because, if you stack them up and then you write on the lines, it draws on 3 lines at the same time. So I only had to do handwriting once. And I got 3 lines of writing out, right? I didn't learn how to write very well because I basically boffed the system, right? I did it all in one shot instead of getting the repetition and learn how to do it properly. Okay, so my handwriting is garbage because of that. I have to reteach
Mine is
myself how
too.
to-
It's like trying to
Yeah.
interpret hieroglyphics or something.
Exactly. So we want you to be intentional and we want you to be consistent. That is the real message here. Be consistent.
And be
Absolutely.
patient. Be patient with yourself, and be patient with this, guys, because you're building a business. Be patient. This is, I think we all know that real estate period is not a get rich quick type thing at all. But just continue to be consistent, and just also be patient. Let the process work itself out.
Absolutely. Yep. Thank you for sharing that.
You know,
I see somebody in the comments
Jesse.
asking about conversations, intentionality, what should we be talking about, all that kind of stuff. We're going to get into that later, guys. Right now, we're just trying to change what you're doing right now, what's not working. Okay, we're just trying to get that skill and change your routines and make this so it is a habit. Okay, so that's all we're trying to do. We're going to hammer down again on how to organize it, what questions you should be asking, what the conversation should look like, how to get more intentional, and how to continue following up on those relationships. Okay, we're going to get into all of that. I don't need you guys to be thinking about any of that stuff right now. All we're trying to do is change up your routine. Get you doing something that is intentional and that is a money-making habit. Now, to add on to that, here's how I want you guys to think about this. And here's how I think about it in my head. Is let's say I want everybody in here to be filling up their Calendly. Your challenge between, let's say Tuesday, your challenge between now and Sunday evening before Monday, your challenge is to fill up the next 30 days of your Calendly. I don't want you guys to be worried about connecting with anybody else, having those conversations, trying to do X, Y, and Z. No more distractions. Your only freaking job between now and Sunday night is to do anything and everything you can to be filling up your Calendly for the next 30 days at least.
Can you give some examples of how to do that, Jesse?
100%.
How do we fill up our Calendly in 30 days?
Great question. Amazing question. The way that I like to think about this is I almost look at it as if it's a game, like the NBA or the NFL, and I'm a really competitive individual. So if filling up your Calendly is a professional sport, how do you become the Michael Jordan of that sport? What types of things are you going to do or not do? What does your accountability level look like? What does your mindset look like? Again, maybe this is just my head, but sometimes I go to just some crazy extremes. Like if my wife and kids were held at gunpoint and the only way that I got to see my family back again alive was if I filled up my Calendly by the end of Sunday. Now, under that type of mindset, under that type of thought process, what is it that you guys are not willing to tolerate? When you guys get home from work and you're going through your leads, or you're cleaning up the house, or you got other shit going on, and you don't feel like connecting with anybody, you don't feel like putting your stuff out there, what is it that you guys are going to tolerate or not tolerate anymore in order to get this done, in order to achieve this? What type of accountability system are you going to put in place? Because when you look at your life, when you look at not only the monetary things, your cars, your house, your money, things like that, but your relationships with your business partners, your relationships with other people that you're connecting with, your business partner, your relationships with your spouse, your kids, all of those things elevate when you no longer tolerate certain things in your life. If you have to fill up your Calendly by the end of Sunday, when you get home from work, are you sleeping 8 hours a day? If it means that you got to get your kids and wife back from this guy who has them at gunpoint, what are you no longer tolerating in your life? Are you spending an hour watching Seinfeld before you go to bed? Or are you freaking hustling it? And so to answer your question, Chanel, you guys are already doing it. I love this. You guys are sharing your Calendly. You're going into Facebook groups. You're connecting with other people. You're saying, hey, here's how I can help you. Here's how I can serve you. You've got to fill up that calendar. You have to get it everywhere. You have to build the consistency of going into these different Facebook groups. I would go, for those of you who are in sub 2, there's over 40 hours of Zooms in sub 2 alone every week.
Yeah.
Go into those, make those part of your schedule or on your to-do list over the course of the next week and say, hey man, how many Zooms can I get in here? And how many times can I share my Calendly throughout this? When I'm connecting with other people, can I get them to help me share my Calendly? When I come into Zooms like this, am I sharing my Calendly? When I go watch people's podcasts, am I sharing my Calendly? You have to become excited to be talking to people. And when people can sense that you're excited about what you're doing, they want to connect with you.
Absolutely.
Great question, Chanel. Does anybody have anything to add before we go to Q&A? Shane and Chanel.
So you want everyone to connect, or we want everyone to connect with, fill up 30 days, right? We're gonna, we gave them a little bit of a direction on how to get those connections. Now, what are we gonna do? How am I'm gonna make those connections, and then what? What am I saying in those meetings? How am I being intentional?
Well, that's what we're going to get into next week and then the coming weeks in the series. Right now, we're just trying to build those habits. So whether or not you guys want to start those conversations, well, actually, no, I don't want anybody having those conversations. I want you guys to build your Calendly and start those for next week. Put your availability for next week, because I don't want you guys, I want your entire focus just built on filling up your Calendly for the next 30 days. And then next week, we're going to start getting into the conversations we're going to be having, the intentionality, how to maintain it, how to document it, all the fun things so that we can monetize it, so that we can track it.
Ooh.
Does this make sense to everybody?
I'm excited. I'm pumped up.
Was this helpful? This at least help give you guys some clarity, give some ideas on what we're going to do and what we're not going to tolerate? Because that's the problem, is that most people overextend themselves. It's almost like trying to build a football team, Shane. Like, let's say you were going to build a football team, but you're spending 10 minutes a day being the quarterback, practicing being the quarterback. And then you're spending another 10 minutes, being the tight end and learning, that job. And then you're spending a little bit of time being the center and the tackle and the guard and the running back. It doesn't make any sense. You have to focus on one freaking thing. Here's a great analogy real quick before we go to Q&A. Here's how I want you guys to think about this. This is a perfect analogy. And it's not even really an analogy. It's like kind of a true story. So everybody here who knows who Arnold Schwarzenegger is, when he was training for Mr. Olympia, what a task. So much involved with that level of commitment and dedication and consistency. But what was really interesting was how he reverse engineered this. And he focused on one thing, focused on one freaking thing. So he would take 4 weeks and just build out his chest. And he would build just this massive chest. So everything he was doing for those 4 weeks was dedicated to making as many gains as he could on just his chest, his macronutrients, his micronutrients, his cardio. Every little thing was dedicated to just building up this massive chest in 4 weeks. That's what we're doing right now, guys. We're focusing on one thing, and we're going to build this up. So you have something consistent over the next 4 weeks. Now, guess what he did at the end of those 4 weeks? Even during those 4 weeks, he just maintained everything. You guys think Arnold was out there skipping leg day as he's training for Mr. Olympia? No, Arnold doesn't skip leg day, baby. He was doing leg day, but you know what? He was just maintaining. So he would build up his chest. Everything else he just maintained, his shoulder, his back, his arms, his legs. Once he built up his chest, 4 weeks, as soon as he built this massive ass chest, then guess what? Now he started focusing on building out his legs. And everything he did from there, he just maintained, guys.
Okay.
So that's what I'm trying to get you guys to do right now, is we're going to focus on one thing. We're going to build the hell out of it. And then we're just going to maintain and we're going to work on other things.
Absolutely. Sounds good. That's
Awesome.
a plan. That's a
Awesome,
plan.
awesome, awesome.
Baby steps, but critical
it.
baby steps. It's
That's it.
critical. The foundation.
Absolutely.
Lay a strong foundation, guys. This is the foundational work.
All right.
It's not the sexy part, as they call it. It's not, this part's not sexy.
All right. Let's go to some Q&A.
Yeah.
Is it Hage? Oh, I can't hear you.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear us?
How about now?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Can I get your name right?
Yeah, it's H. It is H. How are you?
Public school did me good. Okay, cool. No, I'm good. I'm doing well. How are you?
I wanted to say I'm so glad I jumped on this. I saw it last minute because I was following Chanel because I saw the first post she did.
Hey.
And I was like, this girl's only here for like 3 seconds and she's everywhere. So I'm going to have to hit her up. And then I saw this post. So I'm glad I jumped in last minute. It was so valuable and like mind blown because I've been trying to do this. I'm only like maybe 90 days in, but I've been trying to do it, but do it my own and just fumbling around everywhere. So I'm glad I joined. Thank you so much for all the information. I already have a Calendly and I have the specific times blocked, but I did it because I'm in the project forward and I was interviewing individuals. So I'm gonna have to maybe I don't want to create another one because I don't want it to conflict and forget one and schedule here and schedule here. So maybe I'll add an hour or whatever time it takes to connect 2 people every day. So that's the goal.
I love that. I think that's a wonderful goal. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And thank you for being here. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words. I think that's where most people kind of miss the mark. Even people who have Calendly is they use it, they don't use it to that tool to the fullest. And they kind of have it and it's kind of just sitting there in case anybody does reach out to them. It's kind of like, yeah, you know what? Let me send you my Calendly and we'll just schedule a call. But when we just pivot, when we just take that little bit of intention to say, actually, you know what? We're going to not only utilize this, we're going to maximize and completely fill up our Calendly. It really helps in a big way to create that solid foundation of consistency and intention that we are looking for. It's literally the difference, like Shane pointed out, between hearing and listening when you're talking to a seller. Just that little bit of intention makes all the difference in whether or not you're going to make money with that phone call or not.
For sure. And then I also identified with what you were saying because I'm in California, right? I'm in San Diego. So, and my markets are Florida and Texas. So I have to be up earlier just to get hold of people before I take my kids to school. I'm a single parent. The cooking, the cleaning, the laundry, everything's waiting. The agents are waiting for my call, like everything. So I so identified when you were talking about like how busy you were and you're getting into the door at 9 p.m. in the East. That's nuts. If he can do it, why am I even complaining? I can wake up early because I'm a very early person. I think it's more about the intention. When I block that time, I do nothing but that time, but I get other things distracting me, right? Like I'm worried about the kids and like, I didn't do this chore or the other thing, or the hospital or whatever, right? So I get distracted. So my challenge is to stay committed to whatever I'm supposed to do for that block of time. That's my challenge. And thank you for sharing your story because that made it clear to me multiple things. I'm not the only one suffering from this or having these type of challenges, but now I know where to focus. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Yeah, thank you. And, we're all going through stuff. That's just life. I figured the older I've gotten, I figured out there's no such thing as a normal life. Everybody's got stuff going on, and that's just life. And Shane can attest to this. Him and I are on Zooms pretty frequently throughout the week. You know, a lot of times I'm elbows deep in dirty diapers and, you know, trying to be present, all that kind of stuff. But it's that little bit of intention, just being willing to be there and to show up instead of saying, hey, you know what, my kids are acting up today. You know, I'm not going to be able to make it. I need to reschedule. That's one of the biggest things that I make sure I'm very intentional with, was I never reschedule a meeting. I will always rearrange everything else in my life. If I can help, I probably count the number of times on one hand I've actually had to reschedule a meeting in 3.5 years. So that's one of my golden rules for me personally, that I have found to be very helpful. So anyway, yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. And if there's anything else that I can do throughout the week, if you have questions, if you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Absolutely. Thank you for being here. All right, Tony, what's going on, baby?
What's up, man?
Tony,
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
How's it going? I wanted to start just saying thank you to Shane, Jesse, Chanel for hosting it today. The main question I have, so a little about me. I'm 19. I've been doing it full time because I'm young. I don't have the responsibilities you guys have, so I have that luxury time. The main issue I'm having is controlling the conversation. So I'm good at talking to people, but not letting it go an hour. I think average has been about half an hour, which isn't too bad. But just controlling the conversation, make sure you're getting the information, which I have been, just not getting super long conversations, basically, has been my issue.
Gotcha. You know what? I used to have that problem, especially when I was talking to sellers. Like you call sellers. Do you call sellers, or what is your business? Do you do any cold calling or follow up or anything like that? Or
so I procrastinated for like 3-4 weeks because I didn't want to do cold calling. So now like I've been all my calling now has been connecting. So I've been contacting PMLs, some gators, some sub 2 people. I've been having I literally started 2 days like yesterday. So I had like 10 meetings today, 10 meetings yesterday, and I don't know how sustainable that is to have 10 a day. But I'm trying to keep it full, as you said. I've been trying to get them all kind of packed in, so I don't have any like for a month out from now. But I have lots that like I said, today and yesterday and tomorrow. I've been doing a lot of outreach in the sub 2 free group. I'm not in sub 2 yet. But also just doing like posts in there saying that, hey, I'm looking for this, or I'm looking for XYZ, or whatever that I'm looking to connect with, and just providing value. I always ask people what they need, what they have, and how I can best provide value to them.
Got it.
So
well, I'm gonna let Shane and Chanel answer real quick as well, but I'll give my 2 cents on this. Whenever I used to talk to sellers, dude, like sometimes I kid you not, and maybe some of you guys in here can resonate with this. Dude, I kid you not, I was one time on the phone with a seller for like 4 hours, bro. 4 hours. And I'm sitting here trying to be cognizant. I'm trying to be, let them know that, hey, I hear you. You're going through a lot right now with, death in your family. This is going on. Your son-in-law died, and now you got this pre-foreclosure you're dealing with. Like, I get it. And you don't want to feel like you're pushing them off the phone or anything like that. But one of the best things that I have found, and I do it all the time, and to be honest with you, I mean, I'm enjoying this conversation. I think everybody else is as well. So that's kind of why we're still on this Zoom. But if you notice, right from the get-go, I set that expectation of saying, hey guys, just so you know, we're gonna be off in about an hour-ish. And so whenever I'm connecting with people, that's one of the first things I do. So like, hey, Tony, appreciate you jumping in here, man. Thank you. Hey, I guess before we get started, I've got about a scheduled for 30 minutes. Is that about what you're seeing too? I'm just kind of doing a role play with you real quick, just to show you, just to show you, how that conversation goes, but that's kind of how I set that precedence. And then it's, hey, so tell me a little bit. I'd love to hear more about your business. And then what is it that you're needing right now? Like if you could have that one thing, and I really try to paint that picture. Like, what is it that you need in your business today that's going to set you up for tomorrow? And I think that's such a great question, because it really cuts through the BS, and you get as, intentional as you can with it right then and there. But we're going to be talking about all this kind of stuff next week. But to answer your question specifically, so they don't go over, that's one of the things I do just to set up that conversation properly. Hey, it looks like I got a schedule for about 30 minutes. Is that what you're seeing as well? Okay, cool. And then you kind of just dive into it, and it kind of sets that precedence. Or a lot of times, sometimes if I forget to set that in the beginning, then I just let them know if we're 20 minutes into it, and I know I got that time block for 30 minutes, then, you know, at 15 or 20 minutes, I'm like, oh, hey, just so you know, I've got another meeting in about 10 minutes from now, but let's go ahead and address this real quick. And maybe if we need to have another follow-up conversation, we can go ahead and schedule that.
I think I have been better with it now that I'm talking to other people in the community, not talking to like sellers. Because I haven't had a 4-hour call, but I definitely have had like a 2-hour call with a seller before. So another thing is just the niche. You're talking about having a niche as a connector, right?
Yep.
So would that mean you're only going after connecting like lenders and stuff like that? You're not connecting whatever else, contractors or whatever other service that you could connect, kind of thing?
So yeah, that's a great question. And that, again, that's something we're going to dive deeper into, but I'll just kind of give you a quick example real quick. So I mentioned that back in July or June of last year that I was connecting with, it was like 160, 170 people. And that's just the people that were scheduled. And I'm sure, just like you guys, I'm sure you guys have random people that reach out to you via messenger or text or whatever throughout the day. And they're like, hey, we need to jump on a call. So we were connecting with 160 people a month, and that was just the people that were scheduled. That doesn't include everybody else that we talked to extra. And now, when you're talking with that many people and you're as intentional as you can be talking with that many people, you're going to find deals. You're going to find money. You're going to find people to bring into your business. And so that skyrocketed our business instantly. And so we're obviously not doing 40 hours a week anymore because we've scaled a lot since then. But we figured out that, like, oh my gosh, like, this is a blueprint. We can't afford to not be doing this. And so even to this day, it's still a thing where every single month I'm like, all right, I'm going to take the next 72 hours and I'm going to get this link everywhere and I'm going to fill the shit up with my Calendly. So I can be intentional and everything is scheduled. Sorry?
Do you vet the people at all before calling them? Because one thing that I have done a few calls of is talking to people who just are looking to get into the business, but don't have anything going on like at all. And so there's really, they don't know how they can be helped. So I can't help them help themselves. You know what I mean?
Do you got anything?
Those are the ass calls, Jesse.
Yeah, I've got a little bit on that one. There's a couple things, right? So thank you. One of the things that I find is in your chat that you're having when you ask them to sign up for your Calendly. I mean, I think I did it with you. Like, I asked you what you're doing right now, right? I asked you a couple questions that's going to get my brain around, like, what have you done so far? What are you kind of doing? Like, how can I expedite this a little bit? And like, if you come back floundering, you have no clue or anything else, I'm like, all right, well, does this make sense for us to connect? Let's maybe flesh that out in a couple more messages. That's one way to do it. That way it's kind of you're basically weeding out people that might not be committed to what's happening, right? Like, oh, you know, I'm just kind of doing stuff every once in a while. That's where I see things as the best way to do that. But also, you know, the other part is when you're connecting with people, like I'd had a call with someone yesterday where they're like, yeah, I want to be a connector, but I'm also doing this, this, and this. I'm like, all right, well, what do you want to be doing? Like, what is your superpower? Like, if I can't help them in that specific thing, if they're not exactly what I need, how can I still add value and ask them, give them a way to help them? So it might not be the perfect connection, but they're going to remember you when they're trying to help someone else or they're thinking stuff. So give them some value by just trying to help them in any way you can, but maybe try to help them focus first before you even just sit there and talk about their cats and dogs and squirrels and everything else.
Yeah, because some of them I've actually been sending out the initial message with the Calendly link, so maybe I shouldn't do that then.
I mean, and you can, if you wanted to. I mean, the more people you talk to, the more people, like, you might not know that this person might not have any clue what they can do, but then you find out that their great aunt left them a fortune and they're a PML, right? Like, they might not have any idea. So it might also be fruitive for you to just connect with anyone. So yeah,
I'm a firm believer that you can learn anything from anybody, regardless. I mean, there's a lot of people. It's interesting because one of the things that I love doing is purposefully like having Zooms and connecting with like people who are in sub 2 who are newbies. And I specifically go and I make time for those connections, because those people, I mean, like Shane said, you never know. I mean, it's not like people join sub 2 and then all of a sudden they become a PML. You know, so if money is something that you're looking for, that's where you can get intentional with connecting with people. If deals is what you're looking for, that's where you can get intentional. Yeah, I got my cousin who got me into wholesaling. He's constantly doing X, Y, and Z. Oh, cool. Well, what's he looking for? Where can you and I both make money from that connection? So I'm a big believer, man. If you're looking for those opportunities, and that'll go into mindset. And well, we wanted to touch on mindset today as well, but we'll probably, touch on that a little bit next week. But we'll show you guys how to be aware of these opportunities. And I can provide specific examples as well as, certain connections that I've made with people. And these people have talked to 10,000 other people. But because I was looking and I was present and I was cognitive for that opportunity as a connector, we're able to do some really cool things together. And I'll provide some specific examples as we, continue this series on. So.
Okay, cool. I appreciate it. And also everyone who has put their contact either in their name or in the chat, I've got all of you guys down in my notes. So we'll be reaching out here shortly after the call.
Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you, Tony. Thank you for being here, man. Thank you for your question. Sorry, Shane, go ahead, buddy.
Thank you for hosting.
Really quick, just for the idea of time blocking, I do have to dip out. I have to take the reins from my wife right now, but I just wanted to let you all know and thank you all for coming here. And if you guys keep going on, but I just had to step away for something else that she needs to do. She has some work she has to get to. So thank you again, and I hope to see you all next week.
Have a good one.
Good, brother.
Thanks, Shane.
Appreciate you, man. Let's see if we can just kind of do some speed rounds real quick, guys. We'll kind of limit this.
Yeah,
so maybe,
I still have
another
one last patient I need to see too. I'm going to push her about 30 minutes out. She's my neighbor, so I told her 2:30. It's 2:36 right now, and I'm like, well,
all right, let's do 9 minutes real quick. Let's do like a lightning round real quick. We'll jump off at 1:45.
Got it.
Hi, Larry. What's up, baby? Larry the Lion, man. Thanks for being here, Holmes.
Hey, good afternoon, or what? It's still morning in Alaska.
It feels like it sometimes, man. It feels like I'm on Mars most days, but we are officially PM now, sir.
Yeah. So, real quick, like you said to me the other day, I'm a connector. It really made sense because all the people I'm around now. How do I get paid though? Just give me one example of getting paid. Like, I know how I'm going to get paid doing gator wrestling. I know how I'm going to get paid if I JV on, a house. But how do I ensure I'm going to get paid when I say connect a private money lender with somebody that needs a fix a flip or a rehab money or something? Because I know how I'm going to get paid. EMD is doing gator wrestling because we're all going to wrestle that. But
man, that's such a loaded question. I give you like a million different examples, but in short, just with the time that we have and everything, it's just a conversation. You just need to let the lender know, let the guy know, say, hey, I've got access to money, but what can we do? Are you willing to, pay me another fee? If I introduce you, can we do something to where, we're making money? If I introduce you to this lender where I get a little bit of the next 10 deals you do with this lender, do I get equity in it? Can I get a flat fee? Man, there's just so many different ways, but it all just kind of starts with having that conversation and letting them know, hey, because I get a lot of people that reach out to me. Now we do like DSCR loans and stuff, but I'm not a PML, but I've got tons of PMLs.
Right.
And so people who reach out to me, I say, hey, I'm not a lender. However, if I can connect you with somebody, let's jump on a phone call real quick and see what that would look like. So sometimes even making that connection, maybe now I own 10% of this property or 20% of this property, or it's literally just a conversation with somebody. And
do we do it all, get everything in a JV agreement, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah. You do everything
That's
through.
what I meant. So, but how do you ensure that after you've connected on the first deal, like, are they still working together, or are they just kind of like doing it on their own? Because that's what happened with a couple of times. I connected like a buyer, hedge fund buyer, and a wholesaler, and then they just disappeared on me.
So from a legal standpoint, if you got any questions, just get with me offline and I can introduce you to Chris because Chris does all the paperwork and he can walk you through exactly what that looks like. But yeah, if that's really what you're asking, like, hey, how do I protect myself? And maybe I can get Chris to come in here on one of the Zooms and he can go over, hey, this is how we're going to do the paperwork. This is how you should structure it. Things to be cognizant of, things that you can include, et cetera, et cetera.
So there's certain paperwork for like that, for like 10, hey, the next 10 deals.
I don't know that there's necessarily certain paperwork, but probably things that you would want to have included in your paperwork. That would be a good idea. But again, who, not how, right? So Chris is my who. So if you got questions specifically pertaining to that, we can talk offline, or I can just put you in touch with Chris.
I got you. One more thing. When you said, because right now I have so many different connections with so many different things. We're building the CRM that me and Tigger are using. We're gonna, because we want to send out, like we got private money buyers, we got all these different people that are connected, reaching out to us. You said not to do that, not to tell, because we're gonna, like, the DTA build that we have, this Texas the agents, is we want to have a text and a response thing for the people that have money, for if they want to do fund of funds, or if they want to do just EMD and stuff like that. Or am I going too advanced there?
I sorry, I just don't understand the question. You guys are doing a lot. You've got a lot of connections. What are you asking?
You said to focus on one thing, like private money, or right?
Well, I'm not saying you guys have to. I think we're getting a little bit further ahead. I want to kind of focus the Q&A today on just the things that we've gone over. And as we get further along, or if you have more specific questions, we can talk offline and I can work you through that since you're a little bit further ahead.
My bad.
No, you're good. You're good, bro. You don't got to apologize, man. You are good, baby. Will that work?
Thanks. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, let's talk offline and I can kind of give you some ideas on where to go from there.
Hey, everybody, please make an appointment with me. It's a 15-minute. I have a 3-minute video you can watch beforehand, Project Forward, and subscribe to my YouTube.
Love it, bro.
Ooh.
Thanks, Larry.
We got 2 Lisas.
Let's do Lisa Joy first.
Okay.
How you doing, Lisa?
Hey, I just want to say thank you to start, guys. Thank you so much for doing this. This is awesome. Really appreciate this.
You're welcome.
Super excited about what's coming. And speaking of what's coming? So can you please give us some idea of what we're looking at as far as every week, what time? What are we looking at? How many weeks are we going to do this? Super excited to do this with you, but I want to block out my calendar for it right now. So
yes,
good question. Well, like Chanel said, I don't know, were you here from the beginning, from the first of it? Okay, cool. So like Chanel said, her and I didn't even know each other before either Thursday or Friday last week. She was like, hey, this is what I'm trying to do. And I know a lot of other people are trying to do the same thing. It was like, oh, shoot, well, let's just do a Zoom and give everybody the education from the very, very ground up. So there isn't any guessing, and everybody who wants to do this solely as a connector can make a lot of money from it. And consequently, if everybody wants to do it just kind of as a side gig, obviously those results are going to, commensurate with whatever that looks like. But to answer your question, I would assume we'll probably at least do a month. And it'll probably be every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern time for at least probably the next 3 or 4 weeks. And then we'll kind of just play it by ear. Because again, before Friday, I don't think we even know we were doing this.
Nope.
But there's a lot of information to be had. So that's why this is going to be a series. We can't cover it all in one day. But I'd probably anticipate the next 3 or 4 weeks anyway.
Okay. Great. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it. I didn't know I was a connector until somebody called it out and said, you're a connector. So I was just having fun. So,
well, you might as well make some money from it too, right?
Yeah.
I love it.
Don't feel guilty about it.
Yeah. It's good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. All right, Lisa number 2. How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. I'm good. Actually, the other Lisa kind of just touched on the question. Was when was the next Zoom? And if I understood you, that's next Tuesday, 4 p.m.
Yeah,
Eastern
we'll probably just
Standard?
continue. Yeah, we'll probably just continue doing them on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah. And more than anything, probably just a comment. And don't shoot me for this, Chanel, but I am hearing, I am listening and I am hearing, but in the time that we've been on this Zoom, I've had a lot of other people hit me up for information that I have, and I've connected them, and I just don't know how to get paid for that. And I don't expect at this point to get paid for what's in the past, but I definitely want to get paid for what's in the future. So I do look forward to that, but it does work, guys. I mean, I can't tell you, so many people have hit me up for information that I have and context that I have. So it does work. So I'm eager to know, Jesse and Shane, how to get paid for that. So that was it.
Lisa, let's you and I connect.
We can do that.
I would love to know who you know and how we can both make some money from it.
Well, mostly it's I live in Tampa, and it's wholesalers across the country. And when I first started this, I belonged to a lot of Facebook groups, and they're flippers. They're women groups and they're flippers. And I was like, wait a minute, those are my buy boxes. So I started collecting their buy boxes. But as I've been collecting their buy boxes, I myself have gotten involved in other things. So now I have all these buy boxes that I can't really do anything with because they're not local. So I'm like, and I don't want to leave those people hanging because they're entrusting me to go find properties for them. So I'm like, okay, I hit up the other Facebook groups. Anybody want some buy boxes? And they're like, I'll take them. So I'm like, okay, so I've just been spending my time sending out those buy box, and trust me when I tell you, they're legitimate buy boxes. So I guess I'm a connector. I don't know. So
I like it.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
so that's how that happened.
Maybe next week we'll get a little bit deeper into maybe some of those specifics, and we can talk about your situation a little bit deeper collectively as a group. That way everybody gets value from it. It's recorded and all that kind of fun stuff.
Sure.
What do you think?
Sure. I'm perfect. Perfect. See you guys next week. Got to go eat dinner with my husband.
All right. Sounds good, Lisa.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Yep. Yep. You too.
Okay, Lee. Is it Lee? Lay?
Yes, sorry. Yes, it's Lee.
It's Lee. All right.
Long. I know you got to go. You got to treat a patient. I'm an OT also, used to be.
Yes. See, look at that.
And thanks, Jesse, and everybody that's been participating. I just want to say super fast, and I don't know if this is allowed or not, but oh well. I created a Facebook group just now for connectors. Just put your contact info in if you want it, because I know it's hard to keep up with the chat and get everybody's not. So if you want to.
Great. We were talking about doing that. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for doing that for us.
Yeah. So I'll post it in the chat again. So it's not, I just literally post it. There's nothing in there. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, I could say something else, but I'll stop.
Awesome.
Yeah. So thank you again.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Thank you. If you're okay with it, what we were going to do was put together a Discord that actually, a friend of mine, Freddie, is putting together for the connectors. That way we can kind of separate not only the conversations, but the information and the resources. That way everything's kind of organized, and it could just be kind of like this all-inclusive one thing for all the connectors. But yeah, let's definitely, we can utilize that Facebook chat as well and kind of help the. I
just want to make sure that if nothing else, that I didn't miss everybody. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Thank you very much for putting that together.
Right. Anybody else?
All right. Well, we are I say 3 minutes over. Really, we're 48 minutes over what the standard that I set. Didn't do too good on that. Maybe pace is rubbing off on me. Pretty soon these are gonna start. These are gonna be like 4 or 5 hour long Zooms. But hopefully you guys got value from this. Hopefully it gave you guys some clarity, gave you guys a roadmap. You guys have some action steps, where to start. And moving forward, what the expectation is going to be, what you guys can expect. And if nothing else, if you guys need anything else between now and next Tuesday, please don't hesitate to reach out. Appreciate you
Yes.
guys. Thank you very much.
They
And one
will.
more thing, because I know we had a lot of people that were really excited about this. And some people got the time zones mixed up. Some people have W-2s or other appointments, things going on. The only thing that we ask, because like Chanel said, there isn't a lot of information on this outside of basically the definition of a connector, really coming in and building an intimate business as a connector and monetizing from it. I don't know that something like this is being done. So if you guys got value from this, please, the only thing, and this is all free, the only thing that we ask is that you share this with somebody. For everybody else who's trying to do what you and I are doing as connectors, please, the only thing that we ask is you help us grow this community. That's the only thing that we ask. If you guys got value from this, please share it with somebody. If there was a tidbit, if there was a golden nugget, if there was something else that you guys are going to do or implement today that really affected and gave you guys some clarity, please share that. That's the only thing that we ask. Thank you, Tech. I love you, brother. I love you guys. Chanel,
Thanks,
I hope
yeah.
you have an amazing day. Thank you for the opportunity.
you.
Thank you for putting this on and doing this with me. This has been super fun.
Thank you, Jesse. You the man. Tom Brady in my life. This is the Tom Brady in my life, guys. Tom Brady in my life.
Oh, love it. Love you guys. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, everybody, for being here. You guys
Thank
have a great
you.
week, and we will see you guys next Tuesday.
All right, guys. Have a great rest of the week. Go fill up that Calendly.